Stop it, Johnson. It's paining me. It hurts badly. Stop it. This is an African folktale story. Jumoke sat on a soft couch as she watched the lightning against the window. The air inside the house felt warm, but there was a strange quietness that made her feel a little lonely, as her mom was on a phone call with someone from work, speaking in a voice that was serious, while her dad, sitting in the chair across her, he was typing on his laptop as he looked focused and busy. After school hours, Jumoke and her older brother Johnson often spent their afternoon together, playing games or reading books while their parents were caught up with their work. Jumoke liked this time. It felt peaceful, but today she was feeling a little restless as the toys were boring and the book did not seem as fun. As usual, she glanced over at Johnson, who was flipping through the TV channels. "Johnson," Jumoke called in a little voice. "What are you doing?" Johnson, who was a year older than Jumoke, was always the more adventurous one. Johnson, full of excitement, responded to Jumoke as he had looked at his face. "Look at this, I found something on TV." "Come see," as Jumoke scrabbled on her feet and peeped over to where Johnson was. He had found a strange video, as it did not look like any of their usual cartoons. The people in the video looked much older and they were doing something that made Jumoke feel a little uneasy. They were acting in a way that did not make sense to her. As she looked at the screen, her heart began to beat a little fast. "What is this?" she asked quietly in her voice, tinged with confusion. Johnson, however, did not seem worried at all. "I don't know, but it's probably something for adults. Let's watch it." Jumoke hesitated as the video felt wrong somehow, but Johnson was already glued to the screen. She shifted uncomfortably on the couch. It was just a video, right? Maybe it wasn't so bad. She decided to stay and watch, her curiosity getting the best of her as the video continued. The people on the screen did things that Jumoke could not understand. She did not know the words for what they were doing, but her stomach twisted. The sounds coming from the TV were strange and made her feel uncomfortable in a way she could not explain. She glanced at Johnson, who seemed absorbed, watching intently. Jumoke's mind raced with questions. Why were they acting like that? Why did it make her feel so uneasy? She thought about her mom and dad, who always told her that there were some things that were only meant for grown-ups. In this time, is this one of those things? Johnson turned to her with an excited smile. "I think it's just something that adults do. It doesn't look bad. We should try it too." Jumoke's eyes widened. "What do you mean try it?" she asked. A voice barely above a whisper. Johnson was confident as usual. "I think it's something we should try, like they did." Jumoke felt a sharp pain in her stomach. She did not know what to say. She wanted to trust Johnson, but something inside her told her it wasn't a good idea. She still did not seem scared. Maybe it would be fine after all. Johnson seemed so sure about it. "Okay," she said, but only for a little while. They went into the bedroom and tried to mimic what they had seen in the video. But the moment Johnson attempted it, she felt an uncomfortable pain in her body. It wasn't like the game they usually played or the fun things they did together. This felt wrong. It hurt, and Jumoke immediately stopped. Tears welled in her eyes as she did not understand why it hurt or why she felt so upset. She looked at Johnson, hoping for an explanation, but he seemed confused too. "Johnson, this hurts," as she whispered in a trembling voice. "Why does it hurt?" Johnson blinked, looking at her for a moment, then slowly backed away. "I don't know. Maybe we weren't supposed to do it like they did in the video." "It's okay, we can stop." Jumoke nodded quickly, feeling relieved. She cuddled up on the bed as her heart kept pounding. She did not know what was happening, but she knew one thing for sure: she did not want to do that again. It did not feel like something they should have tried at first. The next day, Jumoke could not stop thinking about what happened. Every time she thought about it, her chest tightened as she wanted to talk to someone. Her mother was always busy with work, and every time Jumoke tried to get attention, her mother would say, "Not now," as Jumoke's mom had little or no time. Jumoke felt alone. She did not want to bother her mother again, but the worry inside her kept growing. She wished she could tell someone what had happened, but she did not know how. What if no one understood? What if they were angry with her for even watching the video in the first place? As the night drew closer again, Jumoke kept turning in the bed. That night, the weight of thoughts pressed her down. She did not know who to talk to, and it made her feel even more confused. She did not want to keep this secret, but she did not know how to bring it up. The next morning, Bimbo the neighbor knocked on the door. Bimbo was always kind. She loved to chat with Johnson and Jumoke whenever they needed someone to talk to. She had a gentle, reassuring way about her that made Jumoke feel safe. Jumoke was sitting on the couch staring at her hand when Bimbo came over and sat near her. "What's on your mind, Jumoke?" she asked softly, noticing how quiet Jumoke seemed. Jumoke hesitated, but then felt a wave of relief washed over her. She needed to talk to Auntie. Jumoke began. "I saw something on TV yesterday with Johnson. We don't understand it, and it made me feel funny. We tried it and it hurt. I don't know if it was bad, but it felt wrong." Bimbo listened carefully with a face full of understanding. "Jumoke, I'm so glad you told me. You did the right thing by coming to me. What you saw was not something meant for children. Sometimes people make videos that are confusing and not okay for you to watch or do. You should never try something that makes you feel uncomfortable." Jumoke's heart fluttered in a mix of confusion and relief. "Why did it hurt, Auntie? Why don't I understand it?" Auntie Bimbo smiled gently, brushing a look of hair from Jumoke's face. "Sweetheart, it's perfectly normal to be curious, but your body is still growing and there are certain things that adults do. But you are not ready for them yet. You don't need them, and you don't need to understand everything right away. What's important is that you never try anything that makes you feel bad. Your body is your own, and it feels important to keep it safe." Jumoke felt a sense of peace as it washed over her. Though she still did not fully understand everything Auntie Bimbo said. But for the first time since the incident, she did not feel so alone. She felt hurt later that afternoon. Auntie Bimbo spoke to Jumoke's mom, explaining what had happened. Jumoke's mother listened carefully, then decided to sit down with Jumoke and Johnson for a conversation. Jumoke's mother began gently. "I'm glad you spoke up, sweetheart. It is so important that we talk about things that make us feel confused or uncomfortable. I'm glad you spoke up, sweetheart. It is so important we talk about things that make us feel confused or uncomfortable. What you saw was something meant for adults, and I'm so sorry you had to see it. But I'm so proud of you for coming to me, Jumoke." Jumoke nodded that her mother wasn't angry with her. "I did not like it, Mom. It hurt." Her mother hugged her tightly. "I'm so sorry, darling. You were right. There are things that are just meant for grown-ups. And you were not ready for them yet. You should never do anything that feels wrong to you. And it's always okay to ask questions. You can come to me with anything, anytime." Johnson, who had been quiet through all this, spoke up. "I'm really sorry, Jumoke. I did not think it would hurt you. I thought we were just playing." Jumoke smiled softly. "It's okay, Johnson. I think we both learned something." As time went on, Jumoke's mother decided to take some break off work, learning that her children had become full adults and they needed to learn more about sex education.